Welcome to Brand Builders TV. Deep dive topics, tools and resources brought to you by global thought leaders from within the Brand Builders Club. This show gives you access to the strategies that you can use to move forward with ease and flow in every area of your life and business. In today's show, Greg is going to be discussing his ideas about community. Now, more than ever, it is important that we remember the elements that create community. Even the small things are important in a world that is facing such a period of global uncertainty in the face of an increasing polarised political system. Tune in to hear how he believes we can improve our communities, whilst also being able to provide support and services for people who aren't in a position to do it for themselves. Learn it, model it, and get shit done. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to Brand Builders TV. My name's Greg Garrity and I'm with Drive Change for Good. Today, I want to talk to you about community. Specifically, what makes a good community, because there are communities all over the place, aren't there? There are online communities, there are postal communities, there are geographic communities. What is it that makes some communities stronger than others? I think for me, one of the main points for any community that makes a community strong is compassion. Looking at people's circumstances with sympathy and then taking action to change it. That's my idea of compassion. One of the things that I talk about consistently is loneliness and people not getting chance to communicate with others on a regular basis. There was Captain Tom Moore, the guy who did all of the, who raised all of that money for the NHS whilst walking, doing laps of his garden. He's actually brought out a brand new podcast aimed at reducing isolation for old people. And in some research that was put out today, Age UK said that 225,000 older people typically go for a week without speaking to anybody. 225,000. While more than 6 million say just a few minutes of conversation can make a massive difference to them. So, the communication that we take for granted, the way we live our lives in our little blobs, in our little cells, and our what they're called, I've forgotten, social circles, that we take for granted. Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people don't see anything like that. And it's kind of the purpose of community to ensure that as few people as possible, if not all of them, have to go through that. So, what do you have to be compassionate? Who do you have to be? Yourself. Just ordinary. There's no special tricks. There are no super skills. You can't do a course on this. Well, of course you can do courses on it. Lots of courses. But you don't need to do a course on it. And if you're shy and naturally find it difficult to talk to people you don't know, then, I don't know, put something through the front door with your mobile number on it. Or just a little letter saying, hi, thinking of you. Put something in your window if you need any help or if you want to chat. All of those things can make such a massive difference to people and will allow you to do more in your life. You've got a story to tell, and other people, especially when they're much older, have hundreds of stories to tell. So why not share them? Why not share them? The creatives listening in on this, hello, will build things from those stories, take it further, whether they're illustrations, whether they're books, whether they're videos, whatever. And the mechanics amongst you are going to understand straight away that actually what we're creating is the cementing of a future. If you're going to build an extension on your house, first thing you would do is you put in the foundations. I'm talking about creating the foundations of community. Communication with people. What else do you need? You need motivation. Remember when you were small and you were at school and you were with your family, you remember how good it felt to be encouraged or praised while you were doing stuff, whether you thought of it yourself or whether you were following instruction? You know, imagine an extended family. Imagine, to use the cliched phrase, strangers are just friends we haven't met yet. But imagine that extended family, that extended group of people, that as they come to know you, they start to embrace the things you need to do, the things you don't need to do, and how you go about them, just to make it better. You know, we've got so much combined life experience at the moment amongst the community, so much academic knowledge that we can teach our children that are stuck at home. They can learn things just by talking within the community. And if you can't talk face to face, or you can't talk in the same room, you can talk over garden walls. You can talk through windows. There's lots of ways that you can be communicating with people and be motivated to do it. Everything you do will make your surroundings much better. And what are your surroundings when they're much better? They're more meaningful. And having meaning is something that we go through all of our life looking for. Some people find meaning in others, in that they become a parent and they have lots of children and their entire life is devoted to being a parent and ensuring that their children get the best that they can achieve, not necessarily just giving them the best of everything, but the best that they can achieve to give them the best advantage to move forwards. Some people's idea of meaningful are to go into a profession like medicine and research to the nth degree to find a cure for something or to make life easier for other people. Meaningful to a lot of people, the most meaningful relationships to a lot of people are probably their work relationships or their education relationships. You know, a lot of people lost their identity, didn't they? With lockdown, students lost their identity because they'd always been grade A students all of their lives, and now they had to think about themselves as real people. If you watch one of my interviews with Garrity, she talks about the whole thing, the thing that all of her friends went through. Well, for people in employment that have looked at their peers as being their source of inspiration, a way of planning their career, or even perhaps romance, we don't have that at the moment. So what do we have instead? What can we have instead? You know, the reason we have these key work relationships is because we spent most of our lives in work. Work was our community, but life's changed now. Life won't be the same. So people are saying, well, what can I do? You know, I don't have any friends anymore. You're surrounded by people. You're surrounded by people you can talk to and get to know. So why not do that? You're going to be at home a lot more over time now. I think that's the death of the 5-day working week. We're now at a point where people are only going to be going back for 2 or 3 days at most. So get to know the people that you're with all the time. Get to know your neighbours. They might not be the same age as you, but you know what? That doesn't really matter. The whole point of this is you still have friends, you still have quality relationships that you can call on if you need assistance, or you can call on for support, or just for a laugh. They don't have to be the same age. And I think once you get past about 17, 18, you realise that. But up until then, it's a bit of a struggle. So just swap it around. Think about how you can make your life meaningful on a daily basis. We all go through phases where we think no one understands us and that we're different to everyone else. This is particularly true during times of stress. So we're all under a phenomenal amount of stress at the moment. So when you're talking to someone today, whether it's on a Zoom call, or whether it's interacting with me on Facebook and you're seeing the other people that are interacting with me. When I've finished talking, carry on the discussion. Contact someone. Say hi. Ask them how they're doing. If you're sitting having a conversation with somebody, I know from personal experience that when you're under stress, quite often if someone's talking at you, you are literally waiting for them to finish talking so that you can say what you want to say. So try a different approach. Actually listen to what they're saying and then answer them. You might find you come away from that conversation feeling happier and like you've actually had a contact with somebody. You know, whether it's video, whether it's telephone, whether it's face to face. Just try it. Try it. Try and consider someone else's point of view for a change where you wouldn't normally. You know, it's easy to look on Twitter or Facebook or something like that and read a post someone's going to go, what an idiot! How could they even think like that? Take 30 seconds and say, so how is it possible they could have come to that point of view? This isn't being you all wishy-washy and allowing people to talk rubbish. It's you starting to understand how some of the division has taken place in society at the moment, how we have become so polarised. Because frankly, if a lot more people thought before they spoke, we wouldn't be so polarised. So if you make the first move, I'll be there with you. Okay? Because we all need very similar things. You know, even though we all appear to need many, many different things, really our relationship needs are very few. We need warmth. We need heat. We need companionship. So think about that today as you go about your day. Just your daily routines, whether it's, again, after this live call, talk to people. Find out if there's something you can do for them. Something small, something tiny. Think about, I don't know, flick through your phone book and go, good grief. Auntie Susan or Uncle Fred, or just someone you used to knock around with 2 or 3 years ago that you've not spoken to. Or maybe you used to speak to him frequently, but now COVID's happened and they've just gone by the wayside because you're dealing with the everyday in your face, loudest shouting gets dealt with. And just reach out and say hi. It can be really rewarding because it makes them feel special that you've rung them out of the blue. And that's a contagious feeling. You know, you put the phone down, you feel kind of good that you've made someone else feel kind of good. So run with it. It's, you know, none of this is rocket science and none of this is new. None of it. But we get lost in the melee. We lose our way. We just need little pointers occasionally to make us think we should be doing that. Oh, why am I not still doing that? Because I used to do it all the time. Just do it. You know, I know people that regularly put in their Outlook diary or whatever on their laptop to contact 3 random people a day. Not to talk business, just to ring them up and ask them how they are. And the feedback from that, the feel-good, emotional feedback, is amazing. Because very rarely do they ever come off a call and go, well, that was a waste of time. They're like, oh my goodness, so-and-so's doing this, so-and-so's doing that. Blah, blah, blah. We're gonna meet up and do this together. Enjoy the chances you have. Absolutely grasp everything you can and feel happy that you've caught up with people, that you've shown them that they're important to you, even if you don't speak to them every day. So I think one of the things that a lot of people might find, let's say, challenging when building a community is identity. Because a lot of us walk around this world with an idea of what our identity is. And currently, when there's no workplace, so nobody gets to wear their smart work clothes, nobody gets to show off their flash projects or their Rolex in meetings, how do people ensure that they are given the status they feel they need? You know, you might wander around your neighbourhood at the moment, not really saying, pre-COVID, you might have wandered around the neighbourhood, not really saying much to anybody, not letting on to people you pass in the street, just going into a shop, your local shop, buying what you need, walking out, never having any sort of social interaction with the shopkeeper. And all of a sudden you're thinking, well, hang on a minute, I'm a big wig in work, but nobody knows me in my community, so how can I change that? How can I do something about it? Because currently you're the quiet one from number 32, or the guy who's got the flash car, or whatever. So how do you do that? Because as we go through different stages of our lives, our identity changes. One, because we're in different roles, doing different things, and two, because our ideas of what's important changes. So for an 18-year-old male strutting around with wide shoulders and his chest out might be the absolute image he wants to provide, because he's fit, he's healthy, he's top of his game. Whereas someone 10 years later might want to show themselves as a proficient parent, and someone who's good in middle management, or someone who's just good at providing for their children. So they make sure all of their children are absolutely dressed to the nines, and they go to the best school, and they have whatever they want for Christmas and New Year, or whatever. Birthdays, I meant to say. We need to make sure that if we're going to build proper communities, that we're able to be identified in a way that's important to us. And what I would actually suggest as a leveler, because you can't bring office status home with you. It doesn't work. What I would suggest is, while you're at home, while you're around, speak fairly to people. If you pass someone on the street, say hello. Oh, good morning. If you're going to a shop, again, hello, having a busy day? Oh, are you struggling with COVID? Just small talk. But again, don't be there with a script. Listen to what they've got to say. They may not have spoken to me. Just because they're stood behind a shop counter, they may have had no meaningful conversation for hours and hours. So talk to them, engage with them. They'll remember you as somebody that was supportive. You know, if you say you're going to do something for a neighbour, even if it's something tiny like, yeah, I'll take your bins out next Tuesday, do it. Become trustworthy. Know that when you go out then in your neighbourhood, you can walk tall figuratively. You don't have to strut, but people will know you as a person of integrity. People will know they can ask you for support, and people will be willing to support you. Absolutely building all of the fundamental roots that come together to build that community. Feel safe in the fact that you're identified as a person of integrity with both your peers and your wider friendship group. You know, it doesn't matter if you empty bins or if you're a heart surgeon. If people respect you and know you as a person of integrity, they will come to you and they will refer to you with respect. And let's be honest, even from a place of no ego, it must feel nice to be respected for just being you, rather than have to put on a mask or any sort of false actions. You know, there's no point trying to pretend anymore. We're all at home all the time. For those of us that haven't got major income streams coming in, it's going to show. We can't pretend to be millionaires if we're not millionaires. So bear that in mind. Be nice, be normal, be real, be human beings. And as you're building your identity, think about the fact that you're finding it difficult to trust others. Total strangers. What, I've got to be vulnerable? Yeah. And if you're finding it difficult to trust, imagine how difficult they are finding it to trust you. Something to think about, isn't it? Trust is the hardest thing to actually get out of a lot of people. And for good reasons. Because the way society's gone, in big cities especially, neighbours are so transient and working hours are so long, you might live in the same block of flats as someone and have never even met them. They might only be 2 doors down, but you've never met them. And all of a sudden, you're in a situation where you're bumping into people. Not so much physically at the moment, but definitely, you know, metaphorically. They're there. You know them. They know you. Are you trustworthy? Are you a nice bloke? What are they like? Why not try, from today, moving forward, 2 or 3 small acts of trust every day? Just small ones. I'm not talking about start handing out money or lend your car keys to somebody. Just 2 or 3 small elements of trust that you can give out and that people will know you're trusting them. Please don't go, I'm trusting you as a test. But they'll know, because they won't be expecting it either. And if they come back in a way that you're not happy with, then it's a small loss. Don't take it personally. They could be having a bad day. Try them again a few weeks later. If they fail then, they might not be someone you're going to get along with necessarily. But if they do come up trumps, then try them with a little bit more. Because every time you trust them and they come back with the response or the action that you hope for, they are proving themselves more trustworthy. And likewise, I mean, we don't know someone's background. They may have had all the trust knocked out of them. So some people are going to be slower than others at trusting. And some people are going to have massive hearts and just open their heart like a book. So there's a lot of leeway for potential damage, but at the same time, you've got to try it. So little and often, 2 or 3 small elements of trust every single day. And see in 6 months how big your friendship group is. It might have only increased by 1 or 2, but it might be 1 or 2 people that are well worth having in your friendship. So, start building. What can go wrong? Well, lots can go wrong, but also lots can go right. So have the faith. You know that phrase that everyone's throwing on the end of phones? YOLO. You only live once. So make the absolute most of it. Remember, change is inevitable, so you better get good at it. all of the things that I've talked about today, if you are not sure about any of them, then please write your comments below. Talk to me about it, because some of these things maybe aren't as natural to you as they could be. Or maybe you'll turn around and say, well, that's not applicable to me because where I live, blah, or whatever. If you have situations like that, or maybe you're housebound and actually you are reliant on the idea that actually someone needs to make the first move with you for you to be able to reciprocate, contact me, let me know. Let's see if we can put people together. Let's see if we can expand our group, our community. Let's turn an online community into a real community. Let's have it both ways. Let's have it all ways. There's no reason why we can't. But just let's make sure that when we meet people, when we talk to people, when we support people, when we do anything with people, any interaction at all, let's try and make sure it comes from a place of consideration, of compassion, of kindness. There are people at the moment that are promoting the idea that freedom of speech should be allowed to continue on all social media channels and shouldn't be censored. But I'm saying to you, it's not just about freedom of speech. There's got to be a point where you consider the people around you, where you consider how your opinion may affect people who are more vulnerable than you, people who have been hurt by similar situations that you're describing, or people that are basically too young to know better and they think an emotional outburst is a plan of action. So let's be good. Let's be marvellous. And let's keep working together through this time to build our community, to go forward. Thank you for listening. I'll be here again at the same time, in the same place next week, so that together we can drive change for good on Brand Builders TV. Thank you.
I hope that you've enjoyed the show today as much as we've enjoyed making it for you. If you've got anything out of this episode, please do tell someone else how they can subscribe to the Brand Builders TV channel at youtube.com/brandbuilderstv. Why not join us at our next Brand Builders Thinkubator, a global mastermind that we run every week to take away the loneliness of being in business on your own. For more information and to book your place, visit light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. That's light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. Until next time, be the ripple that you wish to see in the world, and we'll see you soon.